Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Adam Moose, and today we're going to be continuing our new series called In-Depth. This video is going to be an in-depth guide on Olaf Jungle. In the in-depth series, we'll be going over runes, items, abilities, pathing, strategy, matchups, where they're strong, where they're weak, and some final tips and tricks. If you do enjoy this video, it would really help me out if you could leave a like, comment, and drop a subscribe on my channel. These videos take a lot of effort, and I hope you guys can learn something from them. Enjoy the video. Alright, so first things first, let's talk about runes. Since Olaf is a bruiser based on auto attacks and healing, Conquer is the best fit by far. Triumph is the best choice in the second row since it helps you gain that little bit of extra HP to help you win some clutch fights. For the next rune, I almost always take Legend Alacrity. In the case that the enemy team has a ton of CC and I also want to buy Ninja Tabbies, you could run Tenacity as an alternative. Last Stand is a really good choice for your last option, since when Olaf is low on HP, he attacks faster due to his passive. Meaning that when you're low, not only will you attack faster, but do more damage because of Last Stand. I always take Inspiration Secondary on Olaf. Free boots are fantastic since you'll be trying to get as strong as possible in the early game, and putting all your money into damage is ideal. The bonus move speed is also very nice. Approach Velocity is the best secondary rune since if you land an axe on someone, you gain movement speed towards them, giving them no chance of escape. As for these runes, some people like to do double Adaptive Force and Armor. Personally, I prefer the attack speed, but I think both are fine and completely up to you. Now let's talk about item choices. Olaf is pretty simple to build, but I'll go over the most common items built by myself and pro Olaf players. I personally always go Warrior and Red Smite on Olaf. Warrior and Red Smite is the strongest dueling build, which fits my Olaf playstyle. Cinderhulk is also a viable option as it scales better into the late game, so you don't get bursted as hard. You can also go Blue Smite if you have a hard time getting in range to auto attack the enemies. As for my other necessary items, I almost always go Black Cleaver second with Merc Treads or Ninja Tabbies depending on the enemy comp. The situational items list is pretty long, so I'll go over that fast. GA, Spirit Visage, and Death's Dance are my most built items. Usually with these items, you want to build based on what damage type the enemy has. Your goal with these situational items is to get as tanky as possible so you don't get one-shotted in the late game. It does not take a mechanical genius to play Olaf. With that being said, it takes a lot of knowledge of his damage and how to properly execute auto attack resets to maximize his kit. The first thing to note is Olaf's passive. Olaf gains 1% increased attack speed based on how much HP is missing. This is the core of Olaf's kit. That means that in extended fights, Olaf is one of the strongest dueling champs. So I'm going to demonstrate a early game clear with no leash, just to show you how you want to be low HP. So we'll start off with this clear like this. Drag this bad boy over here. It's a bit hard for me to do this optimally while talking, but so we'll axe this guy, bring him here, get it real low. Boom. And obviously could do it better for sure, but look at my attack speed. So you want to try to stay as low as possible when clearing because you're actually going to clear faster. A tip to surprise your enemies is to throw your Q from a distance and flash on top of them to instantly pick it up like so. So you Q and flash and then you got your axe. Another tip when clearing or just fighting and you want to maximize your damage is to use your E shortly after you auto attack. So auto, there you go. Auto E. Pretty simple. The last thing to add is Olaf's ultimate. Most people don't know this, but Olaf is actually less tanky with his ult active. In some scenarios where you're not able to put his extra AD to use, it could be beneficial to not ult to preserve your passive armor and magic resist. Now let's talk pathing. I usually have two paths in mind when I'm playing Olaf Jungle. The first path that I'll talk about is the 3 camp gank path. This consists of taking your 2 buffs plus Gromp and then ganking. I like to do this path in 2 types of situations. One would be when I'm able to 1v1 the enemy jungler, and I want to force fights. On Olaf, this is very important to take advantage of because he is a beast. The second situation is when I have lanes with a lot of engage and some easy gank setups. It also depends on enemy champs. The easier ganks you have, the better this path is. You always want to start on the opposite side of where you want to gank. It really helps to plan ahead of time while you're in loading screen to know where you're going to gank. Next would be the full clear path. Olaf is one of the fastest full clearing junglers in the game. C9's Blabber had a full clear done at 2 minutes 45 seconds, which is insanely fast. If you're new to the jungle, I would highly recommend this path. If you clear efficiently, it will give you a lead on your enemy just due to Olaf's clear speed. I would recommend starting on blue side for this, since spamming your axes costs a ton of mana and you're probably going to go You can always change this around depending on the game situation. Keep your eyes on the minimap so you can take advantage of any opportunities that come up. Now let's discuss Olaf's weaknesses. If I had to name a single one, it would be his scaling. Olaf falls off insanely hard. When you play Olaf, keep in mind that you should be winning the game by minimum 30 minutes, and that's even pushing it. When it gets to late game, champs start doing way too much damage for Olaf to out-sustain and phase tank them. Another weakness Olaf has is his immobility. If you're against a team with a ton of dashes, you're not going to have a fun time. Make sure to not lock in Olaf if the enemy team consists of Ahri, Ezreal, Jax, LeBlanc, just to name some examples. The last thing I would mention is Ignite. Olaf's healing is one of his main strengths. This means that if you're versus champs like Shaco who bring Ignite, you need to be extremely careful when dueling them, as one Ignite can cancel out almost your whole kit. Now for the best part, Olaf's strengths. There are a lot of them, so I'll name the most important ones. Firstly would be his early game objective and river control. When a good player pilots Olaf, the enemy will not be allowed to contest early objectives. If you see the enemy jungler on the other side of the map, you can easily just solo a dragon or a herald while taking almost no damage. Olaf is also amazing into teams with heavy CC and low mobility. A perfect example is champs like Malzahar. Malzahar literally can't do anything to you. Picking Olaf into immobile team comps allows you to be an extreme threat in team fights. You can intentionally target certain champs and flash on them to make them completely useless. Lastly is Olaf's sustained DPS against low burst damage team comps. To put it simply, the longer the fight lasts, the more value you'll be getting from Olaf's kit. If you're able to drag on a fight for a long time, you can put out a surprising amount of damage on Olaf. To close out the video, I'll give my final thoughts. Although Olaf does not have any fancy mechanics, it takes a lot of game knowledge to snowball games consistently. Focus on taking dragons and forcing early fights to put his strengths to good use. Rift Herald is also a really good tool to use to break open the early towers. The number one tip I would give to be a good Olaf player is to be decisive. Sometimes it takes the balls to flash into their entire team to be able to out-sustain and carry the fight. Doing nothing is the worst thing you could do on Olaf. Although it takes time to learn, don't be scared to just go in and test your limits. That will do it for my in-depth analysis on Olaf Jungle. If you stay to the end and have any questions or opinions, be sure to leave them in the comments. If you did enjoy, it helps me out so much if you could like the video and subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell if you want to stay up to date with my posts. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.